You've lived your whole life in an orphanage that's hiding a deadly secret. What do you do when your world is flipped upside down and you realize you're destined to die? There's no way outside of this place, and not a single person can be trusted. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the promised Neverland. These kids are about to get a brutal surprise. Emma here is an innocent 11-year-old girl. While looking through this gate, her and two other kids begin to wonder about what's outside the concrete walls of their home. The next day, she wakes up to a bunch of kids running around a house. These kids are all orphans, and none of them have ever seen the outside world. While messing about, she bumps into a friendly woman who they call Mom. The kids gather together and play a game, but while playing, Emma and Norman here reach a short gated fence. According to Mom, passing the fence and leaving the orphanage is off limits until you turn 12 years old. The kids wonder about what's behind the gate, but they don't know that nothing is beyond there other than certain death. This adorable little girl is the next lucky candidate to leave the orphanage. All the kids say their goodbyes before Mom takes her way to the gates. Gathering in the food hall, they notice that the little girl left her bunny toy behind. Being the nice children that they are, these two run after Mom and the girl to give it back. By the time they reach them, they find the gates open and see a truck. Looking in the back of the truck, they find the same little girl that just left, but there's only one difference: she's been brutally killed. Before they can even process what just happened, some deadly-looking monsters open the gates nearby, while Emma and Norman rush under the truck. They pluck the girl from the truck and put her in some sort of hibernation chamber. Being only 6 years old, she's regarded as average quality, but the monsters are expecting some higher quality 11 and 12-year-olds very soon. It turns out this orphanage is not for charity, at least not for the kids. Listening in, they realize their home is actually an operation that raises the kids until they're taken off and eaten by these monsters, which are referred to as demons. Mom has been in on the whole thing, working with the demons to raise and feed the children to them. The two kids escape back to the home but accidentally leave the toy bunny under the truck, which is found by the demons. And her. Mom now knows someone's finally seen her. One second I'm living a relatively normal life and playing with my friends. The next second I see a cute little girl decimated by some traumatizing creatures. If I'm Emma, I would honestly give it a day. This orphanage is the only thing I've ever known, and I'm only 11 years old. Once the shock of seeing a 6-year-old's lifeless corpse has finally passed, I would get to planning. Obviously, something is seriously messed up in this place, and any adult I see can't be trusted. The only adult in this place right now is Mom, and she's been tricking us our whole lives. We should have known though. As far as it goes, no kid has ever come back to say hello or thank you for all the hard work Mom's provided. With such a big orphanage, I would be a little suspicious already. This also raises another question. How has no one ever chased after one of the kids before? This orphanage seems to have been going on for at least a decade, and now we've just discovered that our friends have been shipped off to die? If I was a kid, I'd be running after each and every one of my friends to say goodbye. How has no one ever seen the insides of this gate? Either way, these two kids have just had their lives turned upside down. Waking up from a nightmare, Emma here has a completely new view of the orphanage. Emma and Norman realize that all the regular school-like activities, like exams and such, decide who gets eaten first. But no matter how smart or dumb you are, after the age of 12, everyone is sent off to death. From past experience, they figure out that every 2 months another kid is sent off. Being the responsible kids that they are, they decide to make a plan to save all the kids and escape the orphanage. First off, we need to leave this place, but we can't take everyone. Some of these kids have barely escaped the womb, and they're in no condition to be running around the outside world. According to early developmental scientists, children over the age of 5 usually have nearly finished cranial development and have some idea of how to consciously make decisions. So what I'm doing is telling all the kids above and around the age of 7 and letting them know about what I've just seen. But we have to pick our words carefully. We're dealing with kids, and kids aren't too good at keeping secrets. If that happens, I'm for sure being sent off to demon hell and to never come back. Seeing that I've been here my whole life, I should know who I can and cannot trust. I'm telling those I trust about what I saw and making sure they're not going to tell anyone else. But the kids under 7 aren't useless. They can be used as bait. Since Mom's prepared to do the most savage things to kill us, we'll be doing the most savage things to escape. Looking at the gap between the bars, it looks just a notch too small for our 11-year-old heads to fit through. So that's where one of the younger kids come into play. To make this as safe as possible, we'll go during the night when mom's asleep. From there, we can use one of the kids to walk around looking for a switch or something to open the gates. We seem to have about 25 kids judging by how big the food hall is. When the next kid is sentenced to death, I'm telling all the younger ones and the older ones I trust to come with me on a trip. I would try my best to keep the younger kids oblivious to what's going on because I'm such a nice guy. When I reach the gate, I'm instantly ditching the younger kids, taking my friends and sprinting to the other side. We'll have 24 crazy children running around, which might be just enough of a distraction for us to make it. While it seems like a suicide mission for the younger kids, and we don't know what's on the other side of the gate, it's better than voluntarily getting ripped apart by horrifying demons. They run to the outer edges of the orphanage and find a big concrete wall. Mom reveals to the others that she's holding a tracker that makes sure none of the kids go missing while they play. Meanwhile, the two kids find a massive wall on the edge of the plantation and make plans to scale it. This quiet kid called Ray finds them and asks what they're up to. The two explain themselves by telling him what they saw the night before. He's shocked, but he believes them and agrees to team up. Gathering in the food hall, Mom introduced a new infant to the family and a tall lady who's probably in on the child-killing business as well. A flashback of the two shows they're not good friends, but simply business partners. The tall lady is scheming to overtake her and become her successor. This new infant is shown to have a scratch near her ear, showing where the tracking devices are stored. Okay, things just got a lot more difficult. But we now know that we've been tracked this whole time. We don't know how it works, but considering it, I can't imagine it's as accurate as a smartphone GPS. Considering the fact that we've spent significant time at the gates and was sitting under the truck, either Mom's bluffing and waiting for the perfect time to strike, or her device isn't as good as she thinks. I would bet that her watch works similarly to a compass, where she can only tell the direction but doesn't have pinpoint accurate location technology. We can use this to our advantage when planning our escape, especially knowing that she doesn't know who is on the tracker either. Human microchips are pretty high-tech stuff, so we have to assume that whoever Mom is, she's not working alone. There must be some pretty costly backing, especially knowing that since there's a constant supply of food, clothing, and shelter to keep us safe, chips inside children, especially infants, are currently unheard of. So whatever technology these guys could have could be something super advanced. I would be inspecting every single little precious kid to see what the frick nuts is going on with these trackers and seeing if there's any way I can manipulate them into breaking it. Depending on how deep the chip is, and it doesn't look too deep, it may be possible to kill it with an electrostatic charge. What we need to do is to cut a hole in a piece of rubber, a PVC pipe, cut it on one end, wear something like running shoes, and you know what, screw it. Just take a knife and cut the ear off of the precious child. It's a lot faster. I'm sure the kid won't mind. In order to train the children, the three hatch a plan to play tag, which works as a disguise while they increase the kids' fitness levels. The tall lady jumps in as well and tells the kids if they can hide for 20 minutes without getting captured, they win. She turns out to be an expert athlete, but Ray and Norman manage to outrun her. Later that night, the main three kids have a talk and realize that one of the kids might be a mole sending information to Mom. Things just got a lot more complicated. The kids keep on training. Meanwhile, Norman suggests that their leaving date be in 10 days instead of 45 days to trick Mom. Later on, the main three decide they need to tell more of the kids about their plans to have a better chance of success. Glasses Girl and the tall kid are the next to be let in on the plan. But Norman makes sure not to mention anything about that kid dying earlier to keep them from freaking out. The search for the mole continues with the kids laying a trap by leaving a piece of rope in 2 different places for Mom to find. Suspecting the new members, Norman tells the 2 new recruits different places where the rope is. If the rope is gone on the first floor, the tall kid is the mole, but if it's gone on the second floor, Glasses Girl is the one. The mole slips a note under Mom's door later on that night. Finding that the note is gone, Ray and Norman dial it down to one person. The mole is Ray. Ray lets it out that he's the one sending Mom the group's information. He confesses and lets Norman know that he's been working with Mom for a number of years to save himself from being killed. He says he'll continue to help the kids as long as Norman promises not to save everyone. He says it'll be impossible for all the kids to make it, and all must be sacrificed to ensure the success of the operation. They both agree to the conditions, but make a promise to not let Emma know. Ray must be some sort of super genius, or Norman must be a freaking idiot. He's fooled all of us for the longest time and managed to trick us even when we first told him about our escape plan. We know Ray is about 12 years old, which means he's been working with Mom since he was pretty much capable of thought. If I'm Emma or Norman, I'd be pretty doubtful of this guy now. We've all been microchipped and we don't even know what's inside it. Mom could have some sort of crazy technology that lets her control our every move and action. He could be under mind control right now for all we know. We've seen crazier things happen in the last few days. But since he's already in front of us, we should take some time to pick his brain. He seems like a really smart kid and probably knows more than any other child in this house. The older five get together and figure out there's a secret room located in Mom's room. While most think it's too dangerous, the tall kid here wants to find out what happened to the girl who got taken away. Him and Glasses Girl go off to see what secrets lay in the hidden room. The main three find a few books by a famous author. These books have hidden messages covered in Morse code that might show a way out of the orphanage. Meanwhile, Tall Boy and Glasses Girl manage to get the key to the secret room. Going inside, they see the toys of all the kids who were killed. While pretty disturbing, they manage to also find a communication device to the orphanage headquarters. Okay, this is a goldmine of information. I didn't know before that there was a massive library inside the house. But I guess it makes sense because we need to study. It makes me wonder though, what exactly are we studying about? I would take my time and look through more of these books. Books are knowledge and knowledge is power. I would find some books related to science or history that could help us escape this place, and also maybe a book on survival. Maybe if I look hard enough, I can find something that might help us escape the operation. Like how to make a hang glider. With this many books, there's bound to be a whole boatload of useful information. Even taking some time for personal enjoyment wouldn't be a bad idea. We've been under a lot of stress. Considering we don't have any technology, books is the next best thing. Once we leave this place, it'll be the first time in our lives we'll have to fend for ourselves. After we leave, it'll be our first time outside. Books about survival and tips about how to use the environment to our advantage would be a literal lifesaver. Realizing now that these toys mean the girl from earlier is probably dead, the tall kid angrily confronts the main three about their whereabouts. Knowing there's no point in hiding the truth, they tell him about everything that happened on that day. The morning after, Emma tells Norman about her new plan to escape with all the kids. Meanwhile, the tall boy steals some chemicals to help the operation. At the same time, Ray learns from Mom that he will be the next kid to be sent off. The tall lady finds the kids talking in the forest and offers to team up, knowing about their plans to leave the orphanage. According to her, if they escape, then Mom will be fired and she'll take her place in the orphanage. To gain their trust, she tells them her history. It turns out that the tall lady was also an orphan that managed to survive past the age limit. However, if she leaves the surrounding area, a chip inside her will electrocute and kill her from the inside. Now that makes things more interesting. Now all we have to do is fry her insides and then she dies. If she betrays us, that is. Knowing that this lady's also been through the same crazy shit that we have makes her a little more trustworthy in my opinion. Before it looked like a bit of a trap, but now we have some real power on our side. At this point, we have all the information we need. We've got books, we've got a big powerful lady, and a bunch of kids who we can use as meat shields if we want to. I would propose an idea. Since we now know one of the kids can pick locks, we could ambush Mom at night, hold her hostage, and use her as leverage to leave the orphanage. Mom seems like a valuable player within this ecosystem of orphanages. I would doubt they would just let her die. Since the tall lady wants her gone as well, this is a win-win situation. She's got some dirt on Mom, and we can use that as an excuse for doing all of this crazy stuff. If we have the tall lady working alongside us, she can pretend that the kids are still in the house while the demons open the gates. Considering the fact that there are endless trees and bushes, and it would be at nighttime, I think the chance of escaping would be pretty high. From what we know about these demons, which is not a lot, they look pretty slow. We've been training relatively hard, and as kids we have tons of energy, and it looks like we could outrun them. While not entirely trusting of her, the kids and the lady make an agreement to work together. They meet in her room and question her about the demon's headquarters. She tells them getting rid of the tracker will set off an alarm, and the only way to do it is to cut their microchipped ear off. Well, would you look at that, chopping your ear off. Aren't I a genius? While talking, it's obvious that they still don't completely trust each other, but continue to cooperate. Meanwhile, Ray gets a new camera as a gift from Mom for his hard work. Being the smart kids that they are, they purposely hide some secret info about Mom for the tall lady to find. The plan works as intended, and she takes the letter. Without knowing, Mom finds and tells her that headquarters is sending her to a different orphanage and that she must leave today. Going to the gates, she meets the mysterious lady called Grandma, who looks to be a rank above the moms. The tall lady tells Grandma about all the bad things Mom's done in the orphanage, but it's all for nothing. A demon comes out of hiding, and Grandma reveals to her that her and Mom have been working together this whole time. By her command, the tall lady is savagely killed by the demon monster. Meanwhile, in the house, Mom gathers Ray and tells him their partnership is over. Before he can react, she locks the door, trapping him in the room. Using the tracker, Mom looks for Emma and Norman, who are currently investigating the massive wall. Luckily for Ray, the tall kid finds him and knocks the door down. While this is going on, Mom finds the others trying to escape. She catches them red-handed and says that they should just accept the fact that their lives have been pretty good so far and give up on leaving. Not agreeing with her statement, Emma grabs Mom and drags her down while Norman grabs the ropes to scale the wall. Out of rage, Mom savagely breaks Emma's leg before telling them that they need to stay, as some of them are the best meat in the orphanage. The two stop resisting, and Norman is told that he's only got 1 day left before he must leave the orphanage. You know what? Maybe she has a point. We don't actually know what our circumstances were before this. We are orphans after all. There's likely a chance that all of us were homeless and would have died without Mom and the demon's help. So at this point, I would break out my puppy eyes and cry and plead for her forgiveness and say that Mom is such a great figure. And maybe we can use our childlike naivete and to trick her into thinking that the escape is over. Plus, Emma's leg is broken, and as far as that goes, she's now a liability for the group. So I say we leave her, and we'll survive. Sorry, Emma. I'm kidding. We all love Emma. Mom does bring up a good point, though. We need to think about what happens once we get out. For all we know, there could be dangerous animals and killer insects crawling around everywhere. We need to mentally and physically prepare ourselves for what could be a long journey to civilization, assuming we're not stranded in a post-apocalyptic landscape. Once again, Emma's leg has just been broken, and the tall lady just got murdered. So we know Mom is prepared to do the most savage things to ensure we're sent off to the demons. Not only that, she's got to be the most two-faced, no-good nun lady in the history of mankind, raising up kids just to send them to death. I love it. In the next scene, Ray gives Norman a taser made by the parts from Mom's gift. The three plan to use the taser to disable his tracker. This gives Norman time to hide in the forest until they wait out the real escape day. Because of this, Ray will likely be the next to go in his place. To avoid this, he plans to injure himself, which will leave him unable to be shipped off, as they only send the kids if they're fully healthy. Before they go to bed, Ray decides to tell the other two about his past. It turns out that he knew about the demons all along, as he does not experience childhood amnesia. This means that he retained all of his memories dating back to when he was a baby. He reveals that from a baby, he was sent to the orphanage, and that beyond the gate is the demon headquarters. There are also 5 other plants which have groups of kids just like theirs. This also means that he's the only one who has any idea of the outside world. The next day, Norman goes to the gate and manages to scale the wall with the hidden ropes. Just barely managing to climb it, he gets his first glimpse of the outside world. Sadly for him, there's only one more obstacle. There's a massive chasm covering the outskirts of the wall as an extra layer of protection. While the plan was for him to hide in the forest and wait out his deadline, he decides to come back to the orphanage to the shock of absolutely everyone. Well, there's a massive chasm, which is a problem. If I'm Norman, I'm checking the area close to the gate. Obviously, the gate wouldn't lead to a massive hole as well. There's probably a bridge or something that would easily lead out to the forest, or something easier to traverse. Ray said that beyond the gates is the demon headquarters, but from this massive forest landscape, I couldn't tell you if that's true or not. So I'm taking my chances either way. Assuming there is, it's now go time. Tonight I'll be shipped off to certain death. I would wait till right after sundown and assemble all the kids that are fit enough, climb the wall, and make our way down to the bridge. We don't know what's down there, but there will be limited visibility. There's also one more option. We could zipline across this chasm. We have some pretty dang long ropes, and we could combine them to at least see if we can make our way across this chasm. Because I would rather not take forever shimming our way down to find out if this chasm was made by them or not. Even with the massive gaping chasm, it's not all that bad. This is the first time we've seen the outside world, and it looks pretty much the same as what we've always seen. Trees and bushes. This at least lets us know what we're dealing with when we make our escape. Later on, the 3 kids gather around and figure out that the area surrounding the orphanage is shaped like a hexagon. The only other way out, other than somehow scaling the wall and jumping over the massive hole, is to go through the gate. But obviously, if they go through the gate, most of them will probably get killed and eaten alive by the demons. To the shock of Emma and Ray, Norman tells them that he never planned to escape in the first place. He just wanted to help them find out more information about their surroundings. He gives the taser back and gets ready to leave the orphanage, saying his final farewells. Emma, with a broken leg, tries to stop him by breaking the tracker on his ear before being pushed off. It's too late. Norman goes off with Mom to certain death. However, this time he's not killed straight away. Norman gets taken away to a side room by the gate with a disturbed look on his face. Okay, this is pretty bad after all this hard work. Looks like Norman either gave up or never wanted to escape at all. Before we can get too sad, we can think about this from a positive perspective. We now have 2 months until another kid is gone. That's a lot of time, and by the way, we have a lot of kids. For what Norman told us we now know, it's possible to get on top of the wall with a little athletic ability. First thing we need to do is to keep our training up. Kids who are a basic athletic level naturally have higher endurance levels than a lot of experienced endurance athletes do, due to fatigue-resistant muscles and the ability to recover extremely fast because we're kids. That means whatever training we do is increased tenfold. Once our fitness is sorted, it's time to escape. I'd make sure to bring enough food and water with us to last a few days, even though it'll make it heavier and running will tire us out a lot faster. The overall benefit of having it versus not having it is clearly better. Luckily, we know that most of the area is forest, which means there's water nearby. Forests are natural filtration systems, which collect and produce water year-round. We also need to know how to make a fire. Luckily for us, all the materials we need are right next to us. By getting dry wood, twigs, bark, leaves, and a flint, we can make a fire that'll last us through the night. And also we will use the fire to sanitize the water, killing any bacteria and bugs that may be in the water. Knowing that Norman's probably dead, the kids lose confidence in the escape plan. Ray tells the older kids that he's accepted his fate and has given up. After 2 months pass, no progress has been made, and it looks like he will be the next to go. The night before he's sent to death, Emma shocks him by revealing she's never stopped working on the escape plan. Glasses Girl and the tall kid have been working with her without suspicion of Mom due to their depressive moods. Ray agrees that they should initiate whatever operation they're attempting, but he won't be a part of it. He pours lighter fuel on his head in an attempt to light himself on fire, burning himself alive along with the orphanage. She manages to save him by catching the lit match and convinces him to go along with their plan. Now preparing to initiate the plan, Ray cuts his ear off with the microchip in it to trick Mom into thinking he's stuck in the fire. Seeing his location still in the house, Mom freaks out as he's one of the highest quality supplies and attempts to extinguish the fire, but it's too late. She tries to access the hidden room, but the keyhole has been filled. The kids manage to make it to the massive wall and use their ropes to scale it to the top, but Ray is shocked to learn not all the kids have made it. Mom grabs the communicator before she watches the house burn in flames. Standing outside, a little kid comes rushing to her arms. It turns out that the kids less than 4 years old were left behind. In a genius play by Emma, she realized that the kids can only be sent out after turning 6. So she left them behind on purpose. This is a win-win situation. The kids who are too young would have probably had little chance of surviving in the outside world, and the oldest kid still has about 1.5 years left until he or she's sent off. Since she's also determined to save them, she plans to come back before any of them have their 6th birthday. That's pretty badass. It's also probably the best plan you could have made in this situation, but I would disagree with coming back. We now know how big this organization is, with multiple orphanages housing hundreds or even thousands of kids. We also know from the tall lady they've been operating for a long time, decades or even longer. This means they have more power than we can even imagine, and I don't think it's possible for us to get enough resources in less than 2 years to save these kids. Well, heartless, I would decide to leave them behind because it's terrible. We already have enough on our plate with saving ourselves. I would take the crappy option and get as far away as possible from this crazy orphanage. Before that though, you know what I would do? I wouldn't use all of the gasoline up on the house. Rather, I would set the whole farm on fire as well. The fire would likely kill Mom and all of the little ones, but oh boo-hoo, cry me a river. This woman has to be stopped. While the kids will die a pretty painful death, this will stop Mom from raising more helpless kids to be eaten. The wildfire would also serve as an element of surprise, showing headquarters that we mean business, and we are some kids that are not to be messed with. With the younger kids safe, Mom calls up headquarters and tells the demons that there have been some escapees. Somehow she manages to climb the wall in time just before Emma crosses the massive hole with the makeshift zip line. In an act of kindness, she removes the pulleys and wishes the kids a safe journey. In a sudden flashback, Mom is shown to have been raised in one of the orphanages herself, but instead of being killed, she was given the choice to become a mom and begin her training. While becoming a mom, she became a mom and gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. The kid she gave birth to was Ray. While her child was taken away as a baby, she remembers Ray as he often hums the same song that she herself used to. With Ray retaining his memories as a baby, he also knows that Mom is his mother. Failing in her mission, Mom goes back to the younger kids and tells them that the older ones have successfully escaped the orphanage. The kids look onwards into the horizon as they experience the morning sun of their very first day of freedom. But if you don't want to end up as a tasty demon Happy Meal, I'd suggest you smash that like button. Comment down below, let us know what you like, what you didn't like, but be nice about it, okay? And as always, do it quick before Mom gets ya.